Today I'm going to talk about auditory processing. It refers to the brain's ability to receive and interpret sound information. Several skills are essential for effective auditory processing. I am going to name a few. Your brain needs to be able to identify, detect, and localize sound. In other words, your brain needs to tell you where the sound is coming from. It needs to be able to attend to important auditory information in the midst of a competing background noise. You need to be able to discriminate between specific sounds. For example, do you hear cat or hat? Your brain needs to be able to attach meaning to sound. For example, your brain would identify the sound of a car when you hear it. Identify the difference in speed, intensity, and duration of the sound. It also needs the ability to change speed production based on information you get from hearing yourself. Auditory processing also depends on more complex skills, such as listening and understanding more complex stories or instructions, to make sense of auditory messages even if some auditory information is missing. And lastly, it depends on good auditory memory. I am going to focus on auditory memory. This is the ability to retain auditory information, both immediately and after a delay. Thus, it refers to short and long-term memory. Remembering something in a sequence also forms part of memory. When children have challenges with auditory memory, they usually present as forgetful. They struggle to remember and execute instructions, find it challenging to tell mom or dad what they did today, and scholastic work such as comprehension tests, reading, and spelling can be difficult for them. The implication of auditory memory challenges, specifically in the classroom, can lead to the child missing important information. I want to set a scenario. The teacher gives a 4-step instruction. Take your maths book, take your blue pen, turn to page 7 and do the first 3 calculations. Your child can only remember the first 2 steps. He is unsure what page to turn to and how many calculations he needs to do. This leads to the child performing the wrong instructions, or he sits and does not perform any work due to his uncertainty. When children do not have good auditory memory, it can have a negative influence on their concentration. They get lost between the instructions and struggle to stay focused. How can you stimulate your child's auditory memory at home? I'm going to share some ideas. Read a story to your child and ask questions afterwards. Keep it fun and informal. For example, who sat under the tree in the story? I can't remember, can you? Ask your child to bring you different objects in and around the house. Make a game out of it. You can also make it more difficult by asking your child to give you the objects in the correct sequence as you requested them. Pretend that you are in a restaurant, especially now that we can't go to one. Your child can be the waiter and take mom and dad's order. Your child needs to remember the order without writing it down and needs to collect the correct food and drinks. I also want to share some strategies or ideas to teach us how to assist the child in the classroom that presents with auditory memory difficulties. Perhaps there are some parents who will also benefit from these ideas as you are currently performing schoolwork with your child. Make use of visual cues, for example, picture cards that outlines the steps that the child needs to follow. This way, the child relies more on his visual system than his auditory system. Instead of giving your child 5 or more instructions, break down the instructions. First, give them 2 instructions, give them time to react and execute them before you give them the rest. You can adapt the amount of instructions you need to give according to your child's abilities. Make use of catchphrases to give the child a signal that you are about to say something important. It can be anything from "Are you ready?" or "Here's the thing." It would be important to consult an occupational therapist, audiologist, and speech therapist if you are concerned with your child's auditory processing skills. Please follow our Facebook page for more useful tips.